Hi. Okay, so what I wanted to do, because I'm finally back home in England, what I finally wanted to do was do a little bit of Stitchalong prep. So if you do not know, the Stitchalong for September starts, okay, so back up. If you don't know, I do Stitchalongs every once in a while. At the moment, I've done February and then June and now September. So the first two were really fun. So now I'm doing a third. And the pattern this time is the leaves in a grid like this, or the flowers. It's also in a grid. Okay, so you can choose the leaves or flowers, or you can choose both. So the way it's going to work is that every other day we'll do a leaf and then a flower, and then a leaf, and then a flower until the very end of September. So if you choose the leaves, you'll be stitching for 15 days every other day starting on September 1st. So September 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, all the way until the very end of the month. And then if you choose flowers, you'll do September 2nd, September 4th, are you getting it? September 6th, September 8th, September 10th. So it'll be every other day to give you a little bit of break, but also at the end, because there's 30 days, you'll have both of these hoops filled up. So what I'm going to do now is just chat a little bit about the different sizes, because the pattern comes in 6-inch, 7-inch, and 8-inch, what kind of supplies you'll need, and then I will hoop the fabric so you can see how to do that and show you a couple different ways of transferring the pattern onto the fabric. Okay, I hope all that makes sense. I was trying to talk fast, but not too fast for you to not understand. Yeah? Okay, so I'm just gonna get started. Let's move these out of the way. So the first thing you need to do is choose which size pattern or which size hoop that you want your pattern to be in. So the easiest way for me to show you that, let me move this out of the way a little bit, is just on my iPad. So here we have the flowers template pattern. So you get it a couple different ways. You get it with the colors, like a suggested colors, and then you also get it just plain like this, because it's much easier to transfer when it's just a black and white copy. So the easiest way for me to show you is, this is a 6-inch hoop, and you can just zoom in and out like that, and then you'll see kind of about how big each flower will be. Yeah? Then the 7-inch hoops are like this. So you can tell it's just a little bit bigger, which means these flowers are going to be just a little bit smaller on your 6-inch hoop. And then obviously the 8-inch hoop will be even bigger. So I got the smaller new iPad. So you can kind of tell, like, here's a pencil. Maybe that will help you. So these flowers will be much bigger. So as far as hoop size, that's just your preference, whichever you prefer. If you want them a little bit bigger, maybe they'll be easier for you. If they're a little bit bigger, you'll use more thread. So you have to think, about that as well. I chose a 7-inch hoop for mine, just because I think they're a nice size, not too big, not too small. But really, it's just what you feel like. Yeah? After the live, I will put a little question box up, and then if you have any more questions, I will answer them there. Yeah? Before I hoop the fabric up, I just want to talk a little bit about colors, because all of the colors are here. as well, and you can see them on here. For this one, you use whichever colors that you want, because not everybody likes reds and oranges and yellows. People might like purple, people might like blue. They're your flowers. They don't have to be a certain kind of way. The only thing I would suggest is to do a variance of light and dark. So I have like a light pink flower, and then I also have pink here, which you can't tell really, but it is pink. And then I have pink here, but they're all different shades, so they don't look like they're all the same color and the same flower. So make sure you get a lot of different shades. If you want to do all pinks, you can. Just make sure, again, they're all different shades. And another thing to think about is the different tones that the colors can be. So this one's almost like a little bit purple, this color. This one is obviously purple. This one also has like a purplish undertone to it. So kind of think about that when you're choosing the colors. And that's especially important on the leaves one, because all of the leaves are green. So if you use all the same color, it might look really cool, but it won't look as varied as this. So just have a little think about how you want them to look. And what I'm saying about tones is the same for the leaves pattern as well. So some of them have a bit of a yellow, like this one looks a bit yellow, has a yellow undertone. These ones are a little bit blue, have a blue undertone. This one again, a bit yellow. So have a think about your colors and what you want them to look like. There's no right or wrong way. So I don't want you to think, oh, it has to look exactly like this, because it really doesn't. You can use the threads that you have at home, or you can go out and purchase a couple. You might also notice that I've used the same colors for different parts. So like this one here is like almost the same color as that. And this one here, I think I used that somewhere else as well. So you can kind of mix and match for all of the details. So you don't need, 40 different colors. You can use the same dark green for this flower, the same light yellow for the outline of this. So you can mix and match, and it kind of looks a bit more cohesive when you do it that way. Yeah? Okay. Moving right along. Sorry. I don't mean to be so quick, but I feel like we have a lot to cover. So I'm going to just do the 7-inch hoop that I used before. I feel like it's a good size for this pattern. That's why I did the other ones in, but I feel like it's a nice size. You can get a lot of details. But not too much. Not too much thread, I mean. Okay, this has like a green line in it, and I'm not sure why. So this is just a 100% cotton, white cotton fabric. It has no stretch to it, so when you pull it, it shouldn't be able to stretch like a stretch cotton would. So it's like, not like a jersey or anything like that. It's just 100% cotton. It doesn't have a really, really, really close weave or a tight weave. I don't know if you can tell or if you can see it. But it's not really big either. So if you get like 100% linen, the linen will have a more open weave to it. And I do have the pink one. Just a minute. Do you remember the February Stitchalong? And the pink one that I never finished? So yeah, you can tell here it has like a much more open weave to it. Whereas this one is a bit tighter. Yeah? So it just depends on what kind of look that you want. So I've got 100% cotton fabric, 7-inch hoop. All I'm going to do, super scientific this part, is just cut a big circle around the whole thing. Some people like squares, but I find like the squares, because when there's a square on a circle, you get this little corner here that always gets caught in my embroidery. So I will always choose to cut them in a circle. I don't like a lot of fabric hanging out. Can you see? Like I said, super scientific. You have to do it exactly like this. That's a joke. Okay, that's a joke. Hi, Tash, I'm back. Yeah, if you like to cut your fabric in squares and do it like that, by all means, do it. Do it how you like. I tend to do it like this, especially because sometimes I'll do 4-inch hoops, sometimes 3, sometimes 6, sometimes 9. It just depends on what orders I get, what I feel like making. So when I do it in circles, I can cut the appropriate circle in the fabric. So easy peasy. So this is what we have. Just like this. You do not have to iron it. You don't have to do anything. If you have it nice and tight, it will be flat. So you're going to unscrew the top. I know most of you already know this, but I'm doing this for people who have never done it before. So the embroidery hoop will have an outer ring like this that goes in and out, and then a plain ring like this. The good ones will have no space between the two hoops, and that means that it will be nice, your fabric will be nice and tight. If you find some that have a big gaping hole like this, when it's tightened all the way, don't get that one. You're just gonna fight and fight and fight and fight, and it's not gonna be nice. So look for ones that go all the way tight, all the way around. So you do not want any space between the two hoops. So you're gonna put one down like that, put your fabric over top. Doesn't really matter which way. Try to center it if you can. And you're gonna push it down like that. And this is my stomach right here. So what I like to do is put this right here against my stomach. So I'm leaning over a little bit. I'm gonna tighten it just halfway so you can see it starting to kind of pinch. Yeah, and you're going to pull it against your belly and pull all the way around. Hi, Meg. So you can tell where I've pulled it, where I haven't pulled it, yeah? You're gonna pull it tight all the way around. Sorry, I hit it. I need to get a new video stand thing. So just by looking at it, you can tell it is not tight enough. So what you need to do is come back up here and tighten it up. And sometimes it might go like this. So the outer hoop will be taller than the inner hoop. That's fine. Just push it back down. Tash says, I can never get it tight enough. I always had to use pliers. So these hoops don't have the screwdriver mark in them, but some of them that I bought do. I cannot remember which ones. Oh, I think it's these ones. Nope, not those ones. Some of them I bought did have the screwdriver thing. So the really good ones will have like a line here, and you can put a screwdriver in and pliers and twist them. Sometimes you'll get it where this little piece here, this little metal piece, will come unattached from this. So this right here will come all the way out. This little screw will come all the way out. And this little, I don't know what to call it, but this little metal piece right here, this tiny little one, sometimes will kind of not be as tight. So sometimes you might have to use the pliers to hold it. I've had this a couple times as well, to hold it like this. And you can either use pliers or you can use just your fingers to tighten it like that. Yeah? So it should be all the way tight, and your fabric should be all the way tight. And it will look like this and make a drum sound when you tap it. So that is good. Can you hear it? That's nice and tight. And it won't be the last time that you tighten it. Sometimes after you draw, if you push too hard, if you sit on it, I've done that before, if you sit on these, any kind of pressure from the top here, that's a lot, will push your fabric down, which means you're gonna have to pull it out again. So there's that finished. So now I'm just gonna chat a little bit about how to get your pattern onto this fabric, because I'm not a big fan of the sticky solvy. Sticky solvy is where you can print on this material. You can put it right through your printer, not this material. It's like sticky on one side, and then the top has like little dots in it. I don't have any, so I can't show you. But some stitchers really like it, and you can print your picture right onto this material, and then you peel off the back and you stick it, or sometimes you can stick it with water. And then you stitch right on the lines, and then when you're finished, you take your fabric out of the hoop and go wash it, and it's meant to dissolve. So I guess that's like the solvy part of it. I'm not a big fan because it makes my needles sticky, and I don't like that. I find it really annoying. So I still am team draw on your hoop. So what I found that I like the best are these Frixion pens from Pilot. Yeah. So they look like this. Some people just use a pencil, but it's a little bit difficult to erase. And then I found these little clickable ones too in America. Excuse me, I just drank some sparkling water. So I've got the little burps, I think. So what I found is you can get some different sizes. So this is 0.5, and it makes a thinner line than this one, which is 0.7. So I found both of these packs at Target, my most favorite place in America, other than the lake. So I found this pack. It's got a dark blue, purple, pink, green, and blue. And then I found this little pack that's 0.5. So it's a thinner line than those ones. So I thought it might be good for like my pet portrait ones or the Christmas ornaments that I make, and they have a black, purple, and blue. And they're meant to be erased with friction, but you can also use a hairdryer or an iron and erase them that way. So yes, they come like that. So this is what we do. You can either print out your pattern, and of course I forgot to print my pattern out, so I can't even stick it behind and show you. Super prepared. The first day I come back from holiday. Not a problem. Yeah, I don't think I have it, but I have some other ones. I can show you some other ones. I can show you the October pattern. That will work. So the first way you can do it is you hoop your fabric like we just did. So again, I've used a 7-inch hoop for this, and this is also a 7-inch hoop. So it's how big the flowers and stuff will be. And what you're gonna do is, this is not the Stitchalong pattern, this is the October pattern that I haven't stitched up yet. So what you're going to do is cut it out, the 7-inch one, cut it out on the line, yeah? And you're going to put it right behind, woo, your pattern like that. Hi, Melissa. And all I do is put my fingers like a fan to like make it flat, or you can use blue tack. Sometimes I've done that as well if it's like a really difficult, intricate pattern, and you just push it up around onto the wood part in 2 or 3 places and it stays there. But for the purpose of this, because I'm not actually going to draw. And then you take your Pilot pen and you can just trace each one. Trace, 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 trace. Pretend I've traced, okay? And then after it's all finished, your pattern will be on there. So that's the first way. The second way is if you do have a iPad, you can Oh, of course it's not going to work because it's quite bright in here. So you size your pattern on your iPad to the right size. Turn the brightness all the way up, and then you can trace it like that. But it works better in a dark room. So you can tell that when it's like darker, you can see it like really well. So you can trace it that way. You can also do this on a computer screen. You just put it up like this. So your computer will be flat. You just put it up like that and you can trace it. So you don't need to print it out if you don't want to. I will say, if you trace it like this, you need your front to be flat to your screen, like this. Yeah? Yes, Melissa, I'm going to show people how to do that in just a minute. So if you do it like this, you will have the pattern on the inside here. Some people are okay to stitch like that. I do not like it because when I do the woven wagon wheel stitch, it's hard to get my needle around and round and round. Sometimes it will poke here, and I'm not a big fan of doing that. So what I like to do is take the fabric back out, flip the fabric over so that the pattern is on the front, and then stitch like this way. So when I stitch, I always put my thumb here, and then the back I hold like this. Yeah, so that's how I do all my stitching. So what Melissa's just said is, and doing it on the iPad, I turn on guided access so it doesn't move. So to turn on guided access, you need to push your home screen button 3 times, and you need to enable it in your settings first. So let's see if I can find out how to do that again. I think it's accessibility. Yeah, so if you go to settings on your iPad and then go to general and you go all the way down to guided access and turn it on, then you need to go to whichever one that you want to do. What the guided access does is it makes your screen so that you can't touch that screen. So if you do it 3 times, my guided access has started, which means I can't do anything to my screen. Ah! I shouldn't be able to do anything. My screen shouldn't be able to move. Maybe it's just this pattern cannot move, but you can still use it. I think what it's meant to be actually is for like children. So you can like keep them in the same app. So like when I try to get out of this app, I can't get out. Do you know what I mean? So like if you don't want your kids to leave like Procreate, or if you don't want them to leave, I don't know, Netflix or whatever app that you want your kids to use, they have to have the code in order to get out of it. I think that's what it's meant to be. So I actually can't like do anything on my screen. And it makes it so that as you're tracing, your computer won't move, or your iPad won't move. Your iPad screen won't move. Yeah, so when you end it, now I can pinch it in and out, zoom it, blah, blah, blah. I hope that makes sense because I completely forgot about that, and Melissa just reminded me. So thank you for that. Okay, so now we have our pattern. Let's see what else I was going to talk about. Was a little bit more about picking colors. But I think we already kind of did that earlier, didn't we? So just a little recap for people who didn't join in from the beginning. I was just saying that it's quite important to remember the tones of your colors as you're picking them. So if you go to like Michael's or Hobbycraft or Joann Fabrics and you see all of the threads, they're normally not all the greens together and all the blues together. Normally they're kind of like in tones, if you know what I mean. So if I just take the greens just by themselves, you can tell that they're all different shades of greens. And some of them will have like a different tone to them. So I hope you kind of understand what I mean by that. So some of them are a bit more yellow, like this one. You can tell they're kind of closer to yellow than they are maybe to green. Does that make sense? So like a plain green, maybe like this. You can tell that these ones have more yellow than blue. Yeah? Whereas maybe like this one, more blue. This one, more blue. More blue. Even this one is just a touch more blue. So you can kind of see, I hope you get it. But by choosing a lot of different colors of green, you'll get a more like organic looking set of leaves than if you chose all the same family. So if I chose only the blue tones, I would really just get a variation of these ones. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. Yes, so Melissa said, your art teacher self is so helpful with the color describing. So yeah, because I used to be an art teacher, I often think of colors like painting. So like every color will have more than just that color in it, you know, unless it's like a pure red. Even some reds will go more orange or more purple. So I guess an example of reds would be like this one has more red orange in it compared to this one, which is more of a bright red. And then maybe this one that would have a bit more purple in it. Does that make sense? So by choosing a couple different shades in all of them, you can kind of get, so that's more of like just a pink. This one probably has a bit more orange in it. So this one's just pink, a bit more orange. I don't know if I have a purpley. Here we go. Here's like a purpley red. It is bright in here, so I'm not sure if you'll see it or if you'll get it. Please tell me if I'm talking just absolute nonsense. But that's kind of how I think of it. So if you have a good mix of all of the different colors, then it will look a bit more organic, like you've like just looked outside and seen them. Because obviously in nature there's more than just one color. So yeah, hopefully that made some sense. But it's kind of the same for all colors, like orange, everything, yellow has it as well. There'll be more colors yellows are a bit more like a tinge of green or a tinge of orange than they are just straight yellow. So I hope that you get it. And just by choosing a bunch of different ones. So think about some blues, some yellows when you choose your greens, and then also think about lights and darks. So you need a couple dark colors. This is more of like a grayish green. Choose a nice dark one. It'll be nice. It'll be really nice. But yeah. And then after you have like a couple colors, you can use the other colors for other things. So for example, if we just use these, you can use this dark one for that. And then you could even use this right here for the detail in it. And then later we'll use this color for this one. And then we'll use this dark one for the detail. So you kind of mix and match and use the same colors in different leaves. And that makes it a bit more uniform looking, like you've done it on purpose, you know? Okay, I think that's it for me. These are the patterns. If you've not purchased them yet, what are you waiting for? Go, 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 go. So there they are. If you've just tuned in now, go back and watch the beginning because I should kind of talk a little bit more about the colors. And then I talk about the introduction to the Stitchalong, meaning how we're doing this one every other day and this one every other day. And if you've bought both of them, then you'll do one on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. for the whole month. And yeah, I think that's all. So I hope you guys have a great, I think today's Thursday. I'm going to try my best to stay awake for the whole day. because we just got home yesterday from visiting my family in America. We got home like yesterday, kind of like in the morning / noon. And then we actually got back home like to our house at like 3 or 4. And then we went grocery shopping. We got some things around and have to clean the house. Did some prep for the Stitchalong. What else? And then just tried to stay awake until an acceptable time to go to bed. And then that's what I'm doing today as well. I'm just trying to stay awake until it's an acceptable time to go to bed. So yeah, this will be saved to YouTube just after this. So if you come back maybe on Saturday or Sunday and decide that you actually do want to do the stitch along and need all the information, it'll all be on YouTube. And the video on Instagram will be available for 24 hours. So I hope you have a great day. And I hope that you'll join the stitch along. Yeah, I cannot wait. All right, enjoy your day, and I'll speak with you soon. Bye.